Now let's get into our hot matchups. What's your hot matchup, Manny?
So I ended up going with a game that's going to be a lot of fun. Seahawks versus Rams. I mean, that's going to be a straight shootout. Vegas has them at 48.5. I feel like that game's going to be over, man, because Matt Stafford has had like I think 3, 4 touchdown games already this year.
Yeah, he's been
Like
a beast,
he's
man.
he's been killing it, and you know what? Puka on one side, Devontae Adams on the other. Those are two guys that are guaranteed to get you 20 a game. You know, Stafford 20, 25. So you know you're starting those guys all day long. And then of course Kyron Williams, right? Like he's been on a tear as well. So a lot of really great pieces on that Rams offense, and of course the Seahawks offense. You can't forget the number one wide receiver in the league, JSN, right? He's been tearing it up. A route technician, and then Darnold's actually had a really good fantasy season as well. Man, he's been scoring a lot of points. I think he's in the top 3 right now overall.
I didn't know
So
that. Yeah, he's been killing it though.
yeah, he has. He's been absolutely lights out. And then you know, when it comes to the running back situation, I don't have a high expectation for the Seahawks. I think you shoot for a nice like flex floor with a potential, you know, starter ceiling, right? Like Charbonnet. And I think Charbonnet's that guy. He showed it this last game, right? They gave Kenneth Walker a lot of touches. They gave Charbonnet a lot of touches, but Charbonnet ended up with 85 yards and a touchdown. You know, and the touchdown was on a 3-yard scamper. You know, so you know he's consistently getting that role. But
He's
do
been
I?
very consistent and pleasant surprise for sure.
He's by no means. I'm saying he's your wide receiver too. But if you're looking at wide, you know, or sorry, running back too. But I'd say like an RB3/flex, a guy that you know is going to get a solid production. I'm pretty happy with the result.
Most definitely. I have him in a couple leagues and have been like real hesitant to start him, but had to in a few leagues. And I'm like, damn, he actually came to play.
15. Let's
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, he's had a couple really solid games. So I like that too. Now for my hot matchup, I've got the Bucks versus the Bills.
Woo.
Both teams are 6-3 and coming off a tough loss. And I guarantee Baker and Josh Allen will bring their A game on Sunday. Baker doesn't have his typical arsenal, which looked like it could have been a problem before the bye week, but he bounced back last week despite losing to the Patriots. He did have a good game. And it's a similar story with Emeka Egbuka, who is absolutely crushing it over the first 5 weeks of the season, but then fell off for 3 weeks before the bye, but he bounced back last week too. And Cade Otton, he's been really solid. We saw this last year too, when Tampa was missing Evans and Godwin. So this shouldn't come as a surprise, but I love him again this week and for the rest of the season. And Rachaad White has not been living up to expectations over the last month in Bucky's absence, but we have seen him perform at a high level. And I still like him against the Bills because they are struggling as a run defense. And on the other side of the field, you got Josh Allen. He's going to come into this game pissed off, which is great because he plays really well when he's pissed off. If he loses, he comes back strong. And I expect this to be one of his best performances of the year. James Cook started the season on fire and fell off a little bit, but he's still a lineup lock, even against a respectable Tampa Bay run defense. And Khalil Shakir has actually been a lot better than I expected. He's been solid all year and should have a big day with Dalton Kincaid out this week. And as far as the other wide receivers, your guess is as good as mine, but I think Keon Coleman should get more targets and have a respectable day too.
Oh yeah. And another do you have any updates on Mike Evans or like any has he been practicing or
I haven't gotten an update on him or Godwin. So I'm guessing it's a few more weeks, right? I don't know.
Yeah, you know, it seems like these teams are being more secretive with their information lately.
Even with Bucky too. Like I don't know what's going on. And Pearsall, like what the hell's going on with him too?
Yeah, no one knows, and yet here we are. You know, so
yeah.
So, but one thing I wanted to say, Tez Johnson is a nice flex
Uh,
play. If you're looking for like that flex plug-in, I like him as well.
I'm glad you mentioned him. I forgot to bring him up. He has been very solid. Like he's been deceivingly putting up a good amount of points, like double digit points most weeks. And last week was another. I think did he have 2 touchdowns last week? He looked good. That's all I remember. He looked really good. I think he had over
Yeah,
20 fantasy points.
he definitely had 2 touchdowns. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah, he's a. I'm glad you mentioned him. He's definitely a flex play in my opinion. Now let's get into our cold calls. Now I'll go first for cold call, and I might surprise you a little bit with this one, but my cold call is the Chiefs versus the Broncos. The Chiefs are rested and probably ready to go after the bye week, so I could be completely wrong on this one. But the Broncos have been pretty nasty on defense, and I feel like this is going to be a very tough game for both teams because the Chiefs' defense has been really good too. Obviously, Mahomes, Rashee Rice, and Kelsey are in your lineup, but I would expect them to give you more of a solid floor than a ceiling this week. And I wouldn't play Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, or Kareem Hunt unless you really don't have a better option. And then Bo Nix, he's a top 10 quarterback, so he should probably be in your lineup unless you have another stud quarterback. But the rest of the team gives me a lot of pause. Dobbins is out, so RJ Harvey should get a lot more volume, but this is a tough matchup for him as the starter. It's going to be, difficult for him to walk into that starting role, and I think he should be more of a flex play. And the Chiefs, they're even better against the pass. I know you said some stats earlier that kind of go against what I'm about to say, but it's just tough to gauge the wide receiver room in Denver as a whole. So, like, Sutton has been struggling for weeks, and Troy Franklin has been getting a lot more targets and fantasy points than Sutton. So it's like, who would you rather play out of the two of them? I don't know. I don't know. And again, the Chiefs have been pretty solid on defense. So if you look at the last 4 games, Sutton has averaged 6.5 targets and 10.7 fantasy points per game. Franklin has averaged 9.3 targets and 15.8 fantasy points per game. And like, this isn't just like a couple big games skew these stats. This has been every week that Troy Franklin has been playing better than Courtland Sutton. But with that said, I still don't like either of them this week unless it's a flex play. Similar to RJ Harvey. I like all these guys as a flex play, not as like a wide receiver or a running back too.
agreed. You're gonna throw a bunch of shit on the wall, see what sticks. Take that approach
Pretty
with
much with
Denver.
those guys. I mean, if you got Troy Franklin or Courtland Sutton, you're probably going to play him because
What better option do you
there's
have?
not too many options, especially with bye weeks and injuries. But lower your expectations all around.
Yeah. Now, for my cold call, I ended up going for a game not because it's two bad teams playing, but it's because it's two really good. I wouldn't say two really good defense, one really good defense and one terrible offense are going at it. All right, and that's going to be the Ravens versus the Browns. So obviously the Ravens are the terrible defense. And then the Browns are the terrible offense, right? So they're gonna go at it. It's gonna be an ugly game. It's a divisional game in Cleveland, so it's gonna be cold. Lamar Jackson is great, but the Browns have been really good this year at shutting opposing quarterbacks down. So I expect it to be another game where they're just punting all game, kind of like the Philly, Green Bay game we just saw. Very slow, very dried out, very stale offenses, and I don't think the Ravens are going to be stale like that. I just think that the Browns are going to do a really good job of shadowing Lamar, right? Like, what if Myles Garrett is Lamar's quarterback spy tomorrow? You know what I mean? And he doesn't line up in the dirt. So that's something that can be concerning for Lamar or like fantasy players in general. I will definitely say, you're going to play Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, on the Ravens side, maybe even Zay Flowers, right? He's going to be a solid flex. But on the Browns, if it's not Quinshawn Judkins, you're not going to play anybody else. Jerry Judy got his first touchdown this year on what was probably his 10th reception on the year. It's, like,
Finally, I told everyone to sit him last week. I said, actually, no, I'm sorry. I didn't say to sit him. I told everyone to drop him last week.
oh, it just,
Flip us back. I don't know how you did that.
oh, no. For some reason, it ended. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, I told everyone to drop Jerry Judy last week, and then he puts up like 20 fantasy points. But look at every other game this season. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, no confidence there. But the games, I mean, the spread is at 40, so that's actually really low.
Ooh,
Even
damn.
Vegas thinks it's going to be a slow game. But like I said, you're going to play those guys, get your flex, and don't expect them to win your fantasy matchup this week.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I think Zay Flowers may get a few more targets with Rashad Bateman out, but yeah, that's a tough matchup, man. And even the Baltimore has been terrible, but they are playing a little better.
Denzel Ward is going to be shadowing Zay Flowers.
Oh,
So,
shit.
yeah, Denzel Ward's a stud, man. So, it's just going to be a long day, man. Very long day.
That's a good point. But and also, like, not just offense, Baltimore's defense has been stepping it up too, so it could be tough sledding all around.
All you got to do is shut down the run, man. Dylan Gabriel ain't winning that game. Maybe get a little spark with Shador, but
I
Browns
feel like
at this point aren't even trying.
Yeah, I feel like even Judkins is a little bit more of a flex play this week too, just because Baltimore has been shutting down the run just the last couple weeks.
It's going to be a long, tough sledding, man.
And the Njoku and Fannin, they aren't really guys that you can put in at tight end with confidence anymore.